if he's not into you, or if he's like on the fence, then why are you hanging on, sis?
Yeah.
Like, just walk away.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Like, come on now.
You see it happen a lot. Basically, what you have here is a man that, and to be a little more specific, it's not just that he's not ready to commit and, hey, I'm just going to break up with you, but not ready to commit, but also doesn't want to let you go. No one has that ability to keep you from making that decision.
Yeah.
And don't ever give someone that ability to keep you from making that decision.
I think that's a very scary person to be with, to be honest with you. A person that says, oh, yeah, I'm not ready to move forward.
Yeah.
I don't want to marry you. I'm not ready to commit to marriage, but yet I want the benefits of marriage. I want to be with you. I want to have adventures with you, but I can't commit. That's a double-minded person. That's somebody who is really unstable in all their ways, and they're not trustworthy.
You get in a relationship with somebody, make it clear from the get-go, both sides, that we're doing this aiming toward marriage.
Yeah.
Now, as we get to know each other, if we determine that we're not the ones for each other, then we're going to break this off and go our separate ways. We're not going to drag each other through this necessarily. And, you know, guys come with a lot of different reasons as to why, well, I'm not ready yet, or I'm trying to get more money, things like that. But you've got to be able to dig through all that and just say, hey, we were clear when we started this relationship where we were aiming, where we were going.
Well, that's kind of the problem. People are not clear.
That's true.
They get wrapped up in the emotions. They get wrapped up in, you know, the fairy tale. They get wrapped up in the curly hair. Are girls into curly hair still? I don't know. But, you know, to get wrapped up in this idea of somebody wanting me.
Yeah.
And for a lot of time, women feel like they can change a man. They feel like, well, you know, he has potential. I want to give him time. I don't want to scare him off, blah, blah, blah. But all while you're giving him the goods. We've made marriage a scary word, a curse word. We made commitment a scary curse word. So we don't want to scare people off by that. Listen, don't step to me if you're not ready to be in a lifelong married relationship with me. I'd rather for you to blow me off at the front, right off, and say, hey, well, I can't do this, versus me living 5 years with you or dating you 5 years and then talking about, I don't want you. That hurts me more. Like, what does that say about me and my character as a person?
Well, I mean, just to kind of use the business world thing, it's kind of like interning for 5 years. Like, how long does it take you to figure out that you want to take me on as a full-time employee?
Yeah.
You know, how long before you're ready to commit? You wouldn't work a job for 5 years, and they still, we don't know if we want to push you on salary yet. We're just going to, let's just see how it goes. We're not sure if we're the right fit. But now you've got to figure that out. I'll go take my talents elsewhere.
And how long does it take you to know you want to be with somebody?
Two types of men that you could be dealing with. I'm gonna deal with the worst one first. The scrub, okay? That's why I like using that term.
The scrub.
The scrub. The profile, the scrub. So this kind of guy, it doesn't matter if you tell him up front what your intentions are and what your standards are. He's making his mission to bring your standards down because ultimately he's trying to have sex with you. That's really what the goal is. And depending, he may be trying to live off of you, mooch off of you to the point where you support him even financially, like a mother basically. And he'll end up in your house and borrowing your car and you paying for a cell phone. You see it on divorce court and stuff like that all the time, right? And so that guy will never be ready to commit because he never had any intention of it. He was just trying to break down your boundaries. So if your boundary was, hey, look, I'm only going to be in a relationship with someone if we're, that I want to get married to, he's going to keep trying until he breaks that down. If your thing is, well, I'm not going to live with you unless we're married, he's going to try to break that down. If I'm not going to sex you, he's going to try to break that down. And so you're never going to get anything out of him. Identify that's the guy you're dealing with and just cut it off and say we're done, okay? The second one is a guy who is a good man. He's a good guy. And I've said this before, just because someone is a good guy or a good man doesn't mean that they are necessarily marriage material for you. Doesn't mean they're your husband. And that can be the struggle sometimes because you don't want to let this man go because a lot of women feel there's a shortage of good men. So you meet one, but he's not ready to make the commitment, but everything else about him is great. So that's why you're hanging on because you're afraid to let him go. Will you even find anyone like this again? The answer is yes, there's other people ready to make that commitment. But it's important that, again, you don't lower your boundaries and you don't lower your standards. Because even if he's not a guy who's trying to go out of his way to abuse those standards and break them down, you're hurting yourself and hurting him by not sticking to what you originally said when you came into it.
And just by saying standards, get a standard.
That's true.
Most women don't really have a standard.
Yeah.
And here's what we hear a lot. Well, if he don't make 6 figures, if he ain't driving this, if he ain't got this, or he got to be his, boss.
That's not what
I ain't talking about that.
Mm-mm.
You need to get God's standard of what a man ought to be or what a husband ought to be. And that's the standard that you uphold.
Yeah.
And then you, as a woman, need to be a wife, a standard. Shameless plug. Get my book, How to Be Single and Happy.
It's in the description of this video, actually.
It's in the description of this video. Get that book because it's going to help change your mindset on you, the standard. Because here's the thing. You only attract who you are.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Now, I know a lot of times we say, well, why do I keep attracting these kind of men? How come whatever? Because you're that kind of woman. Ooh. Like, we don't want, listen, we don't want to think that about ourselves because we sometimes have an overestimated view of who we are and what we are. But the truth of the matter is, if you keep attracting these type of relationships, then it's something, you're the common denominator.
But if you're dealing with that second guy, the good guy, you're hurting yourself and him by keeping the boundaries and standards you set and just dragging this thing along. If he's got cold feet, let him have cold feet. You can have a conversation with him and say, hey, look, I think you're great. I think we can do great things together, but it's clear that you're not ready to the next step. I'm in that position of life. I'm ready to do that. And it's not fair to you or me to pretend like this could be something other than what it is right now. Because you've been clear with me, I've been clear with you. Let's call it quits. Let's take a break. Whatever terminology you want to use, but you go your way and do what you gotta do. I'm gonna go away and do what I gotta do. We're not tied to each other. We haven't crossed any of these boundaries yet. It's fine.
And that's kind of the thing. That's why it's a good thing to preserve all of the marriage stuff for marriage and let the courting process be the courting process and don't overstep that boundary.
Sometimes men, we have this thing where it's time for us to take a step in life, but due to our fears, our insecurities, or things in our environment that we've seen, a lack of money, a lack of accomplishment, whatever's going on, we'll drag our feet launching into that next step. Okay, but a powerful motivator is a woman. And so sometimes what'll happen is if you have that conversation with him and say, okay, look, no pressure. I'm just gonna go my separate way. You go your separate way. Sometimes after that has happened, that man will calculate and realize, okay, the benefit of this woman is greater than my fears. Because sometimes he has fears that aren't based on him trying to be a scrub. It's just he feels like he don't got enough money to support y'all. He's worried about, can he be a good husband? Different things, and he's got some insecurities. But he'll override his fears to make that commitment because he realizes
and
you're
he will
worth
go
it.
off and develop himself to overcome those fears. But here's the key, I'm gonna keep saying this. Don't give that man mixed signals by giving in and crossing those lines and boundaries and being wifey unto him without
that'll jeopardize
because because now he's like, well, you were willing to accept me when we was doing this, doing that, I'll give you this, whatever, but now all of a sudden you want me to commit to you or whatever. Don't manipulate a man to be with you. Don't do that. It's going to harm you. It's going to bite you later, and it's not pretty.
You said something big there. We don't have time to get into that, but that loss of respect. Yeah. When a man loses that respect for you, ooh, that's a torturous relationship.
It's volatile. It really is.
Yeah.
It really, really is.
You're doing yourself to a very bad relationship once that's happened. Yeah. So, but thank you guys for watching. We love you so very much. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll be back. See you guys.